All right. Well, welcome to Live Life Driven episode. It is the last week of the year, and I've got Justin Froggy Farrington in the house today. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good. I'm back.
You're back. I don't think you've been on the show since you've been here full time. Maybe once.
Yeah, I don't even think so. I don't know. It's been a minute. It's been since June. I know that.
Well, if you don't remember, Justin was living out of state, bought a house here in Montana, moved his family here, living his dream, and he was commuting back and forth, and now he is in Montana. Well, as of right now, full time, I suppose.
As of right now, yes, sir.
So, with that, we talk about living our dreams. We were just chuckling about our vet experiences. Oftentimes a dream comes with more than you bargain for, and our dream as a family was to have animals, horses, chickens, dogs, cats.
You about have the farm here, bud.
Rabbits. You have all the same except for you don't have any rabbits yet.
Yet.
Yeah, I know your wife tried. But it's interesting because it's beautiful. We enjoy every aspect of it, but there's also the other side of it, and that's the vet bills and the veterinarian calls. And I took the kids last night to the vet, which we did two interesting things. One was floating the teeth. Luckily, what did you say they used to use?
Well, they used to use a rasp to float the teeth.
Like a regular file that was in your toolbox?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Just hearing that gives me the crunches.
Yeah, it's a whole different ballgame, especially if you've never experienced it.
Yeah, so the girls watched him use a grinder on two horses' teeth, which was a lot of work. Kind of interesting. But then one of them had a wellness check where you put on the glove, and that sucker goes all the way in up to the shoulder on their hind side. Horse wasn't happy, but the kids were, they hung in there. They were rather fascinated.
Your kids were looking at you like, Daddy, why are you so amazed at this?
Anyways, living my best ranch life, my dream. I set that goal a couple years ago. And because this is the last week of the year, Justin, I thought we'd just talk about goal setting a little bit and some of the factors that go into that and ways that you can set your own goals that have some meaningful value. So I guess, have you set any goals yet for 2021?
Yeah, I have. I've set goals for me personally, and hopefully to include my family.
Yeah.
Later on in those goals, but more simply, my first goal is to be more present and engaged. And I know that's over-talked about. It's overlooked. It's real easy to say that. Hey, I'm present, I'm engaged, and stuff like that. But for me, for so many years, I thought that I was here in the same room with people and with my wife and my daughter and my friends. And the ultimate reality, what I've come to realize this year especially, it's been a tough year for me mentally, that I really haven't been. And I don't really know the last time that I ever was. I can't stand it when I talk to people and I feel like they're not listening to me. And I've been accused by somebody else in this room of being that person. And I think you were absolutely correct when you said that to me. And I've made amends with some people who I realize that I did that with. I made amends with you, hopefully. And I really need to work on that, because there's so many different things in the world going on today, with social media. I got rid of all my social media accounts too, by the way.
Probably a good idea.
The news, I don't watch, I'll look at the weather and everything like that. But, those are just little things I think that keep you away from being right where you need to be, or at least where I need to be. And it's super important, my wife's a good person. My daughter's a great person. I want to get to know who they really are and listen to what it is and see what it is that makes them tick and all that type of stuff. I'm supportive, but I've been supportive from afar, I think, for a very long time, even though I've been here for like the last 6 months.
Yeah, I think engagement's important. It's funny because over the holiday, my wife kept saying, well, I'm going to take a couple pictures and I'm going to put the phone down. And I said, oh, okay. I wasn't putting much thought into it. She says, you have to be in the moment. And when you're too busy taking photos, you're not in the moment. So like on Christmas Day, she took a couple quick pictures, and then that was it. And I think it goes to what you're saying is it's all about engagement, right? Being there, helping the kids grab the next gift, and celebrating whatever that gift is, and not being behind the camera lens the whole time, video and taking photos, because oftentimes you just miss those moments of joy and the things that your kid might potentially say, and you're not engaged, right? You're behind the phone. So good on you. That's a big goal. Harder to do than just writing it down. I mean, it's going to take some work. Any other goals you care sharing and are talking about?
One of the things that I struggled with was, I'm very supportive, I think, as a husband and stuff like that. My wife's got a lot of hobbies, especially equine hobbies, horses and horsemanship and all that type of stuff. And what I wrote down here when you told me we were going to talk about this stuff today, it says supportive without selfishness. And what I mean by that is, oftentimes people are supportive because they want to be appreciated, as opposed to just realizing that it makes them feel good to support their spouse, their loved one, their kid, whoever it might be. Mm-hmm. And I struggle with that. I want my wife to come back and say verbally, hey, I appreciate it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because I like to be supportive. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And whether or not she appreciates it or not, I'm sure she does, whether or not she, talks about it or lets me know, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I get hung up on things like that sometimes, and I'm going to work on not really getting hung up on that. Not saying not caring, right? I'm going to do my thing that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to support my wife, support her hobbies and everything like that. Lord knows I got plenty, outdoor hobbies, hunting and fishing and stuff like that. She's supportive, so I'm gonna return the favor and not have any expectation of the verbalization of appreciate, of how she appreciates it or whatever.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting the path you're on, because a lot of people, when you start talking about goals, start rattling off, well, I want to pay off my bills, I want to make X amount of dollars, I want to go on this vacation. And you're talking about some real tangible things that will make a difference in your life for the relationships and the people around you, which is far more valuable than any dollar you could make. So I appreciate you talking about those things, which kind of leads me to another topic that I wanted to cover today. And by the way, I'm skirting the issue. I haven't established what my goals are 100% yet for 2021. I've always been a goal maker. Health is big on my list as I get a little bit older each year. But I'm working on what my goals will be. So I'll share those shortly, but thank you for sharing yours. But identifying our values, and this is something that I've gotten really good about. Matter of fact, it sits on the top of my notepad every day. So when I come into work and I'm looking at my things to do for the day, on the top of the pad, it has my values, which are in this order. It's God, family, health, giving back, and then time. And what I mean by time is just time to be available and around. And I've used that as a barometer for everything I do almost every day and the decisions I make. So how I spend money, or how I conduct my day, or what I map out as a client, or things that I'm involved with, I use that as my barometer. So God and family are my two biggest ones, and then my health as I grow older. So it's worked for me, and I'm using that to help establish my goals. So I know we talked about values and identifying those values early last year.
Right.
So we jumped into stuff. So I would encourage people to figure out what your values are and what's important to you, right? Because that's how you can really establish your goals.
Yeah, the thing about family, everybody says, oh, hey, family's most important thing, blah blah blah, or religion or whatever, and I'm not real religious, that's for another time. But the thing with family for me is I have been void, or I haven't been around family that much. Mm-hmm. My job, I missed holidays, I missed birthdays, I missed all kinds of stuff. Now, that may change here within the next 6 months, and I'll be here full time for sure. Good. It may not. But one thing that I have realized is that, for somebody who has been void of that, physically present but mentally void, um, that's that's difficult.
Yeah.
It is a difficult thing, and most people would be like, "Hey, you're crazy, man. What are you talking about? You get to spend the holidays with your family. You get to spend the birthday with your family." Yeah, I do, and it's not the easiest thing in the world for me.
Yeah.
And it's something that I am working on, and it's real easy to say, "Hey, I got to go to work." It's easier for me to say, "Hey, I got to go to work."
Yeah, it's much easier to go to work than take care of your kids. That's for sure. I'll do that job all day long.
Well, I tell you what, that's a whole different category. But yeah, it's a great feeling. It's almost like a I don't know. It's like a new adventure or whatever. It's hard to explain. I'm sorry, I'm not really being real definitive here, but I can't really put my finger on it because I'm learning it as I go, and it's been great. I mean, it's been absolutely great, but I've struggled with it. I catch myself having those struggles, going, man, I almost feel uncomfortable at times, and they're your family.
Yeah.
It's a weird deal.
Yeah, it should be easy. But, being able to identify that too and then focus on it. And that's why I have it as part of my written down values, right? So if I'm going to do something or make a decision, that clicks in my mind like, okay, how does this relate to my family, which is one of my most important values, before I make that move or that decision. And oftentimes it's easy to do something that feels good for yourself or something that maybe you're in the habit of doing. I guess an easy one as it relates to a hobby, I'm going to go buy a ski pass, for $800. I think it's $1,200 now, and I'm going to go ski this season. Well, what if my family doesn't ski at all, right? I've just discluded them from something that, I can do and they don't. So I try to use, again, the family as a barometer of, the way I do things. Now, fortunately, my whole family wants to go up to the mountain this year, so we all got passes and we'll all go up together, and that's a good use of my money and time and energies is to have that family activity. So anyways, create your values as you consider what your goals are, and those values will carry you through into the decisions you make about career choices, where you live, how you live, the things that you buy, because the values are who you really are, not just your goals. So, and I think, and I know you're the same, I love reading Andy Frisella's Andygrams. He sends it out daily, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to Andy Frisella's website. It's andyfrisella.com. You can find him through First Form as well, and he has a podcast called The Real AF. And if you listen to my podcast show, I talk about Andy all the time. But his Andygram yesterday talked about living a life with intention, right? And having that intent is all about having your values and your goals. And I just love when he talks about that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he is big scheme intention, leaving legacies, worldwide and everything like that. I'm stuck. I'm with the simple things still. I want to leave a legacy within my own family right now.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really haven't put that effort into, that interpersonal effort into. Maybe legacy with where we live now and the things that we have and all that type of stuff. But mine's a little bit more integrated, mentally and stuff like that. Andy talks about, how we can help people and help the world and all that type of stuff. And he does, every day. I mean, I look forward to is that Andygram that pops up. I get it sent to my email every single day. That's the first thing that I read before I even get up and go, so.
Yeah, no, it's a great positive way to start your day because, he writes things with intent. He wants to help other people. What's interesting, and oftentimes he'll close with a harsh statement, and on that particular one, he says, most people won't do shit, is how he closed it out. And what he means by that, and it's amazing how often I hear and see this in business, it's very simple to conduct business and do things, but most people won't do it. They won't follow through on something like we're talking about goals or identifying our values. Most people won't follow through and actually do it. And it's the ones that do take the time to go after it are the ones that will be successful, whether it's their goal setting or a happier life because they have values or